Well, hello, everyone. Good afternoon. It is Tuesday, October 26th. Welcome to the Tiger Club Zoom call. Our guest today has been a frequent visitor in person with the club, and for the first time joins us by Zoom today, beginning her 12th season with Mizzou. More than 500 wins in her coaching career, head women's basketball coach Robin Pingeton. Robin, welcome. I watched an interview you did a week ago, and I sensed you are very excited with 5 newcomers and 9 returnees coming into this season.
Well, first of all, it's great to be with you guys. This is my favorite group, and I should say one of my favorite groups because I'm.
You say that to everybody.
No, I don't. I just I can't wait to get back to Kansas City with you guys. I always enjoy my time with you guys, and just appreciate the friendships and support, and so appreciate the opportunity to get on with you. But how soon are we going to do this in person? Let me ask you that first.
Pretty soon, we hope. Hopefully, our first year. But I can tell all our viewers every week, check the Tiger Club website, and we'll keep you updated.
Yeah, I gotcha. It's we're not out of it yet, are we? But just the last couple of weeks, it's been fun to see some faces without masks, and Zoom is better than nothing. So again, I just appreciate being on with you guys. Absolutely, very excited for the season. And I can get into more detail about that later, but it's been a 6 months of I think great growth individually, collectively as a team, and much needed. And so a lot of really good things happening that I'm excited to share with you guys.
I know last year was really challenging for you. You had a young team, didn't have much chance for preseason practice and bonding. What was it like to navigate with all the newcomers on your team in a pandemic world?
So, I'm a big believer that just being very straightforward. I think COVID favored veteran teams. I think that's a big part of it, and that's not making excuses. We certainly needed to clean some things up on our end that had nothing to do with COVID, and we can talk more about that later. But I just think teams that had veteran players that had been, in the trenches before, and we didn't. Not having an off season really hurt us quite a bit. You typically get a chance to work our kids out in April and May when the season's done, and then again in June and July. They're here for 8 weeks. And then they go home for a couple of weeks, and they come back in August, and we start our workouts with them. And so for a lot of new faces, not having that opportunity to get our hands on them and, get them acclimated to, the college pace of the game, physicality of the game, terminology, build chemistry within your teammates. And then everybody was impacted differently with COVID. Unfortunately, we were in and out of contact tracing and quarantine 5 or 6 times throughout the season. Had a number of non-conference games canceled, which to me was really important to kind of build that chemistry on the court. We had a couple games where we were on the bus ready to head to St. Louis day of the game, and everybody was on the bus, and we got called off the bus, and that game was canceled. And then we took a flight to Auburn, spent the night, had our pregame meal, getting ready to go into a film session, as was notified that Auburn had to go into contact tracing, and so had to fly home. So just the psyche of all that. We had 2 international kids that first of all, being an international student is a little challenging within itself, but to come to a new country, a little bit of a language barrier, and then join a team and say, hey, by the way, don't leave your dorm room, do all your classes on Zoom, don't go to dinner with your teammates because we got to stay 6 feet apart or we'll get contact trace, and don't jump in a car with anyone. There's a lot of dynamics, I think, that made it really, really challenging. But with that being said, there's things that we needed to clean up. I think when the season was done last year was a tough year for us. And by the way, we lost games by an average of 1 point. I mean, we were so close. The message to our kids in this off season was attention to detail and dominate the simple, because, that's a game changer. 1 possession away, and that record looks a little bit different. But for us, to really step back, it's first and foremost my responsibility to build a program that's going to compete for championships. And so when that season was done, there was certainly some self-reflection, some evaluation of what did I miss? What am I missing? What did I miss? What could have I done better? And then we talked about that as a staff and what we needed to do collectively, what we missed, what we need to change up, and then addressed our players with it. And I tell you what, it was one of the best off seasons that I've ever had as a coach in 30 some years. I'm so proud of our kids. And in the month of April and May, the real conversations, the real raw conversations that we had to have with self-awareness and where we were at individually and what we needed to do as a team to really get back to our core values and get back to the roots of who we were. 2 years ago, we were a team that was ranked top 10 in the country. 4 years straight, we finished top 4 in the SEC, toughest league in the country. And it wasn't because we had more athletic kids or bigger, faster, stronger. We had fundamentally sound, high basketball IQs, and we flat out teamed other teams. We game planned, we bought into the game plan, and we went to battle for each other. And, those are just some areas that we needed to clean up in the off season. And it was such a fun April and May. And, your hopes as a coach is that you're going to pick up where you left off in June. And we absolutely did that. June and July were 2 great months. And then they get a little bit of a break before they come back in August. And I've been really pleased with the maturity, with the growth, the addition of our 5 new players. And so we feel like we got the right people on the bus, they're in the right seats, and we're moving in the right direction.
Talking with Missouri women's basketball coach Robin Pingeton. If you'd like to ask her a question, please use the chat feature at the bottom of your screen. Robin, last year the team ranked in the top 10 in the nation, both field goal and free throw percentage. I think you were 3rd or 4th in the SEC in scoring, but you struggled a bit on the defensive end. What have you done in the offseason to address that?
That is a great question. And we've really focused a lot on that starting in April. I think a couple things. I think my staff has always been, has done a phenomenal job with really scouting personnel. Some teams, no matter what, are just going to zone. Some teams are going to flat out, play man and make it hard to get entry passes. Some teams press, but we really play personnel. We try to put our players in a position to take away other teams and individual strengths. And I think we were maybe 10th in the SEC, maybe even a little bit lower in regards to defensive rebound percentage and defensive field goal percentage. And that's just unacceptable. We've had less talent with more success in that area because of our investment into our scouts, because of our preparation and, just the discipline that we had to have on the defensive end and to understand rotations, how we're guarding certain players, screening action, who's a shooter, who's a non-shooter. And that was an Achilles heel for us. And so we jumped on that right away in April. And it was tough. It was hard. Most players want to come to the gym and shoot the ball and, get some shots up offensively. We got very few shots up in the month of April and May. It was all about discipline, about grittiness, about toughness, about communication. And we carried that into the off season and even into individual workouts and team workouts now that we're in full practice and have seen a lot of growth in that area. As a coach, I'm excited that we got a couple of weeks before our first game. All coaches want more practice, but I know the players are anxious to get on the court, but a lot of growth. We have not arrived yet, but we have made some great strides on the defensive end.
Yeah, basically all 5 starters back. I did a little math. 76% of your minutes played are coming back, 76% of your scoring, 79% of your rebounding. Have you had a team this experience since you've been at Missouri?
I'm sure we did, when we made that run 4 years to the NCAA tournament. I don't know. I never looked at those percentages. But I do appreciate, and I'm going to say this too, as hard as the last 2 years were, and trust me, nobody's harder on themselves than I am. I'm a horrible loser. I still feel bad for my family. It's not fun for them to come home and I'm just watching film and just trying to figure this out. And it's my responsibility. I'm a bad loser. But as hard as it was the last 2 years, I tell you what, I feel I'm thankful because I think the adversity has propelled us to a level that we couldn't have gone to without it. I think there's blessings in the fire, and it sharpens all of us. And when you talk about the experience coming back, I just think the maturity, the ownership, the self-awareness, individually and collectively of our team has been really impressive. And, we talk a lot about choosing hard as a team. Choose hard, do that one more rep, take the stairs, have the tough conversations. Culture is everything to me. That's how we beat other teams, is our culture. And we had to get back to our roots, like I talked about before. And, I love these young ladies like they're an extension of my family, but love is not soft. Love is, I'm going to hold you accountable. I'm going to hold you a standard. There's going to be discipline. There's going to be accountability, because I want you to be the best version of yourself that you can be. And so I know I'm kind of getting away from your question a little bit, but I just think the maturity of our team to be able to have those tough conversations, is so important. And I think that comes with maturity and being a veteran player.
I want to talk about some of your returnees. First of all, Asia Blackwell, second team All SEC last year. And I saw today she was named to the preseason second all team SEC. First Mizzou player since 1998 to average a double-double. She's a really talented player.
She definitely is. And, I've seen a lot of growth in her. I think for Asia, the attention to detail is so important. I think she has not even come close to reaching her ceiling. There's so much more in that kid, and just understanding the mental discipline that you have to push through, at times when you feel like I'm emptying my tank. But, our challenge for Asia, the two things that we've really challenged her on is offensively playing with better pace. Really just the pace of the game, and she's so explosive on her drives. And sometimes she doesn't channel that explosiveness, and I think can shoot a higher percentage around the rim. So playing with great pace, playing off 2 feet, and transferring that advantage. She attracts so much attention when she puts that ball on the floor. So to be able to see when that help comes and transfer that advantage that she created for us. And I think she's really wrapped her head around that and doing a much better job. And then really it's on the defensive end. That young lady has everything it takes to be an all defensive player in the SEC. She's strong. She's explosive. She's a strong build, and she can move when she wants to move and when she has fresh legs. So we've got to really push her endurance so that she can sustain that level of play consistently. But that's something that we're talked a lot about. When I think about defense, it's about heart and grit and toughness, blue collar mentality, and we've just been challenging her every day to really step up her game in that area as well.
Haley Frank, another junior, currently the career record holder at Mizzou for 3-point percentage and free throw percentage. What do you look for from her this season?
With Frankie, she's just tearing it up right now. She's had a great off season. I see her just every day. She brings it. She does not take a day off. And I think what's impressed me the most about Frankie this offseason is her assertiveness. So one of the things we talked a lot about, Captain Obvious, we need to find a way to get her more shots, right? She shoots at a high percentage. But helping her break down film and evaluate and see opportunities that she needs to be a little bit more assertive with getting her shots as well, because we run a motion offense, and part of that's on them to be able to understand, in different situations where they can be more assertive. And she's absolutely done just that. I think she's gotten a better feel just for opportunities around the basket. We play 5 out when she's maybe in that post position, and sealing opportunities. Her footwork's gotten a lot better inside, and just overall has become a lot more assertive.
You have 2 seniors on this year's squad, both returning starters, LaDasia Williams, Haley Troop. LaDasia is coming off knee surgery, I understand. How is she progressing? Will she be ready to go at the start of the season?
I sure hope so. It was what we thought would be a little bit of a minor surgery, maybe out for a month and a half, and it's taken a lot longer, I think, than any of us had anticipated. So that's the bad news. The good news is Yesterday was her first full day of practice since the end of April. And luckily for us, she has a really high basketball IQ. She's got a really good feel. Even her ability to coach up some of her younger teammates when we're in, position work has been really impressive. But her feel for the game is something that's always impressed me. And even though it was her first day back, she didn't look rusty. Her timing didn't look off. She looked sharp. So hopefully we'll see how her knee responded to yesterday's workout before we start today's practice. But, all signs lead to us thinking that she will be back in time for our first game this season.
I know you'd really like her at 6'4". She really gives you some size on the inside.
She does, she's awfully talented on the offensive end. That's a young lady too that's got to pick it up on the defensive end. I think she can be more of a force, more of a rim protector. And so we really challenged her in that area too. I think I've always said that kid has an opportunity to, be a pro at some point. But I think that the glaring weakness is she's got to get better on the defensive end. And I think she understands that. And, this is her last go around. She wants to make sure she leaves it all out there. And she does add a great presence inside for sure when she's out there in the court.
We mentioned Haley Truman, and of course, and the other guard, Mama Dembella. They were your two leaders in assists last year. What do you look for them this year? I know you'd like to cut down the turnovers a little bit, but they're pretty good ball handlers.
Yeah, they are. Troop is probably our best perimeter kid coming off ball screens. She's got probably one of the highest IQs on our team. And Coach Chris has done a great job with her, just understanding rotations, taggers, different ways that teams will play those ball screen actions and the different reads off it. And she's got a really high IQ. She's been really great in practice, shooting the ball well. Was out for about a week and a half with a pretty good ankle sprain, but worked her butt off to get back. And, that's a veteran player. She's been in the Fires. A transfer from South Carolina, high basketball IQ. She's been through this before, and she understands what it looks like when we've had great success, and she understands what the pieces we were missing when we struggled. And so I know she's really looking forward to step up from a leadership standpoint, which we need. Mama, I didn't know this was possible, but she looks quicker than she did last year. I mean, that's a kid that's flat out got great speed, great quickness. And we were talking a little bit the other day after practice, and I just said, what is it? She played all summer with her national team, so that's always great experience. But, I think it really comes down to her just feeling so much more comfortable. Again, with the language barrier, understanding what we're looking for, and just the overall feel of being an international student and back for her second year and kind of been through the Fires a little bit. I think she just feels a lot more comfortable. But man, defensively, I wouldn't want to bring the ball up against her. She's just been a nightmare against our scout team. Offensively, continue to work on, her understanding pace, the ability again to transfer that advantage. Everyone's got different strengths, and her strength right now isn't her perimeter game. And so how do you not just surrender and I'm going to shoot my shot because you're not guarding me as hard, but how can I still create opportunities to transfer that advantage within the flow of our motion offense and stick to your strengths? And just her maturity level, her understanding of what we're looking at this year has improved quite a bit. So I've seen some great things from Mama.
I know you're really excited about your freshman class. Got a couple top 50 players. Two I want to ask you about initially. Sky Travis, who is a transfer from Old Dominion, redshirt freshman, and I think she goes by Nisi Trusty. They're fighting some injuries, I understand. Are they going to be ready to go?
I don't think they will, unfortunately. And I tell you what, those two are going to be worth the wait. Those two are special, just so athletic. They're very similar in their build. Nisi's a kid that led the country in blocked shots as a junior. They're both springy. They're rim protectors. They're out of area rebounders. Really explosive in transition. Sky probably has her handles are a little bit stronger than Nisi's in regards to being able to push and start that break. But I think those two have a really, really high ceiling. We just need to get them healthy, and both of them are working pretty hard. I would anticipate that we probably have Sky a little bit sooner than Nisi, but we just want to make sure, as anxious as we are to get them on the court, we want to make sure that we're putting them in a position to be successful and not have any setbacks with, we didn't give their knees time to recover. And so I tell you what, some of those injuries can be tough, and you just never know, but both of them have worked real hard on rehab and have a really bright future for us.
You have a 5'7" guard out of Arkansas, Izzy Higginbottom. I understand she scored 57 points in a high school game. I don't think I could score 57 points standing in the driveway by myself. Tell us about her upside.
Well, I bet you could. Sky's the limit. It's all between the ears. But really excited about Izzy. She is just a high character, high integrity, blue collar, front of the jersey type of kid. She's one of those mortar kids. We've got the bricks and the mortar that holds them all together. And I think she's that kind of kid, just very well liked and well respected by her teammates. I think for all freshmen, pace of the game, physicality of the game, it can be a whirlwind. And I had to remind our freshmen the other day, for those of you that have been following our program, I had to remind them, Amber Smith, who was a tremendous player for us. I remember her coming into my office before her first game as a freshman saying, Coach, I think I'm in over my head. I don't belong here. I can't keep up with the game. I'm overwhelmed. And, I had to talk her through that. And what's Amber do? She ends up being on the all freshman SEC team. Same thing with Morgan I. I remember talking to Morgan I, one of our first recruits here in the small town Montrose, Missouri, and thought she was in over her head. And I said, Morgan, you got to hang in there. You belong here. What's Morgan do? She goes on to set a all-time season SEC in single game SEC 3-point record. And so it's just, as a freshman, there's so much coming at you, just academically, juggling time management, the rehab, the tutors, the mentors, and just the terminology that we're using. But Izzy's going to be special. I think she has a chance to actually make an impact for us this year. She can play a little bit on the ball and off the ball, and can score at 3 levels. And so I think as soon as I can help her just kind of breathe and understand that it's all going to be okay. She's going to be a great addition for us.
Another top 100 kid out of Arizona, Kaya DeRoe. What is you look for from her?
Yeah, Kaya's just real bouncy, athletic. I think Kaya's got a chance to be an elite level defender. She's, like I said, long and rangy, rebounds out of area, pretty quick laterally. Again, I think the transition of the physicality and the pace of the game, but she's such she's got great athleticism. She's got great speed. What we'll continue to work on with her is developing more of a consistent perimeter shot, but also helping her understand by her playing within herself and the role that she can contribute to our team. Man, she can make a big impact. Like we talked about at the beginning of this Zoom, one of our challenges was on defense last year. And that's an area that I think she has a chance to be really elite at. And so we'll continue to try to hone in on that, but also build her offensive skills. Very good slasher, a very good passer, very good offensive rebounder. But eventually in her career, we'll want to develop more of a perimeter shot. And that's a kid that's going to put in the work. She's not afraid to get in the gym. And matter of fact, she told me the other day, she's like, Coach, I know, that's not my strength right now, but by the time I leave here, I want to be one of the best shooters that ever played at Mizzou. And so she's not afraid to put in that work for sure.
I like that attitude. That fifth freshman is Sarah Lenticom, whose sister Mike was on the team last year, and some of our viewers may remember her dad Larry played football at Mizzou. A couple kids from Jeff City there. Do you see them making a contribution this season?
Well, they already have. Well, first of all 5 freshmen have. They're passionate. They're blue collar, high character, high integrity, great academics. And just front of the jersey. This class has added a lot of just renewed energy to our team. And for Sarah, that's another kid that I think is a mortar type of kid. And again, you got the bricks and the mortars, what's hold those bricks together. She's got an unbelievable relationship with everybody on this team. She is a servant leader. as a freshman to use her voice the way she does. I've been really, really impressed. You know, a lot of, you know, our breakdown team time together, leadership opportunities. She's been very outspoken. And you know, rarely do you see that as a freshman, but she's, I think, again, a blue collar kid who might not be the fastest kid on her team, might not be the purest shooter on our team, might not have the biggest size, but she finds a way to do whatever this team needs to help put us in a position to be successful. If we're talking to Sarah about these are the kids we really need to get shots for, she's a willing screener, and we call those screen assist kind of kids. But she doesn't care about any of the credit. She's not worried about stats. She just wants to help Mizzou get back to where we're at and surpass it moving forward.
Robin, you have 14 kids on the roster. What do you think your rotation will be in the number of kids that'll see a lot of playing time?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit early for me yet to decide that. We got a couple weeks, you know, exhibition games. You never know how kids are going to respond when the lights are on in that environment. I think games are always a little bit different than practices. So, you know, I'm looking forward to the 2 exhibition games for sure. And you know, it's body of work. It's not just predicated on those 2 games, but I think part of it's going to depend upon, you know, who gets healthy, how many healthy kids we have, and what that looks like. And so I think it's a little bit early for me to talk too much about how deep we'll go and what that rotation will look like. I know we talk a lot about mission first, Team Always. So what's our mission? Our mission is to compete for championships but Team Always. And so no matter what that role is, to dominate your role. And if that's just, you know, being a great teammate and being somebody's best cheerleader, let's go dominate that role. I think our kids are very aware that, you know, it's not church league. All 14 are going to get equal minutes, and we're going to have to make some sacrifices because mission first, Team Always. And we just got a group of kids that I think has really embraced that, which I think is really special.
Let's talk about your schedule because it's a doozy. 7 SEC teams made the tournament last year. 4 in the preseason top 25, and I think 5 of your non-conference opponents went to the NCAA tournament. You've got a lot of tough teams on that schedule.
Well, all the more reason I need you guys to come up to Mizzou Arena and help us create an environment. We really do. And I know it gets hard as a Tiger fan because it's like we're constantly asking to show up, but I am too. I need you too. And, you know, I think creating that environment is so important, but, you know, we felt like our non-conference was going to be really important to prepare us for SEC play, right? And it's not just about what we need, but I do got to give a shout out to Mike Neighbors, head coach at Arkansas. He's kind of an analytics guy, and he's really had a good voice in our SEC conference meetings in regards to the analytics of how do we position the SEC to get as many teams into the NCAA as possible. And what does that look like for each university to do their due diligence and scheduling, which will provide that opportunity come March. And so, you know, it's not just important for Mizzou, but it's important for our whole league. We do have some challenging games on there. I think there's a nice blend of games that maybe we can build some confidence and some chemistry in some games that we're going to be challenged. And so I think it's a good blend. SEC is, I never thought I could say it, but it's better than it's ever been. I just feel like that's a constant theme, but it is. You add Kim Mulkey to the mix, just a Hall of Fame coach that was at Baylor, and now she's at LSU. And you know, we just continue to attract some of the elite athletes around the country. And then, by the way, let's throw in Oklahoma and Texas, you know, and see how that all plays out. But I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. I am so dang competitive and so driven, and I love it. I absolutely love it. So we're looking forward to it. You know, people have asked who's your biggest rivalry, and I've always said it's everybody in the SEC. It really is from top to bottom, because I think every game is just such a dogfight. But it's going to be challenging, but I think that's what makes it fun.
South Carolina, preseason #1. I guess they're the team to beat, but there's plenty of other ones. They're going to give you some challenges.
No doubt, no doubt. But like I said, I mean, we've been talking about this since April. Where we're trying to go, it's going to be a dogfight. It is absolutely going to be a dogfight. And, we're going to have resiliency. We're going to have toughness. We're going to have grittiness. We're going to have to be able to lean on each other. And we're going to have great attention to detail. We're going to have discipline. But if I tell everybody in the recruiting process, if you don't like to compete, this is not the place for you, because we play in a gauntlet of a conference. And so we're looking forward to it, to be honest with you.
Tigers open up with an exhibition this Thursday against Lindenwood. You will have a second exhibition next Thursday against Southwest Baptist. Season opener November 11th home against Murray State. And season tickets are on sale now at mutigers.com. Prices start at only $49, which is about $3 a game. That's a pretty good bargain. So we need to get out there and support you.
I really appreciate that. And I think it's very well priced for the kind of environment. And, one thing about our teams that we've always prided on ourselves is it's not just about us. It's about us together. Our town, our team has always been really important to us. And we want to give back to you guys, but we need you. Those environments that we play in the SEC are tough. And when teams come in here, we want them to feel the same about us. And so if it works out and you can buy some tickets, even though you can't make it all the time, to be able to share those with somebody else. I know they're doing it all electronically now. It took me a while to figure it out. I hate it. I'd rather have hard tickets, but if you can get some tickets and share with your friends, man, that really means a lot to all of us. So I think you're going to really enjoy how hard our girls play and the passion that they play with.
Before we go to some questions, I want to ask you about one of your former players, of course, probably the best player that's ever come through the program, Sophie Cunningham, and her appearance and contributions of Phoenix Mercury in the WNBA finals. She really finished the season strong and that team kind of came out of nowhere to get to the finals, although the Sky did too. It was an interesting matchup.
It really was. The Sky, just really impressed with just their chemistry on the court. They shared the ball well. They handled adversity. For the Mercury, you got Diana Taurasi, you got Brittany Griner. I don't know if they came out of nowhere. Those are two of the best that have played the game, but so fun for Sophie. I'm so proud of her. Great for her, great for our program, great for our community, great for Mizzou Nation. But I love watching her on that stage. It is so I feel her vibe, and just really feel thankful that I had an opportunity to get up to Chicago and when they were playing in the series and just see her. But I think really what was so cool is there's so many Mizzou people there, so many former teammates and friends, and it was just cool to see the support that she had. But we all love Sophie, and we all know that this won't be the last time she's on that stage. She's too competitive and too driven.
Okay, ready for some questions from our viewers?
Let's go.
Last year, your turnover to assist ratio was not what you want it to be. But is there a trade-off where you're willing to accept some turnovers for a more up-tempo offense?
Within reason. But it goes back to the attention to detail. It really does. And it's something that we chart every day in practice, and at the end of practice, we're talking about, and we'll clip them so our girls understand that. We've dove deeper into that. The assist part, our goal for games, if we're at 1.1 assists to turnover ratio, we're going to be in the top 3 in the league next year. And so, just helping them understand what that looks like on a daily basis. But you're going to have turnovers. It happens. Our goal is 12 or less. Again, in the SEC, you're playing against some pretty darn good athletes and competition, and some defensive minded teams that can really create it and make it challenging. And so we just try as hard as we can to put together a scout team that kind of can implement that. That was another area we struggled with last year with COVID and wearing masks, and we didn't have that chance to go against that scout team. And I just think it helps so much. And so I'm not willing to, compromise that, but I understand it happens when you're trying to play a little bit more up tempo, but we've got to have a positive assist to turnover ratio to put ourselves in a position to have success. Our thing is, yes, shoot it before you turn it over, but don't beat yourself. We can't, too many times we beat ourselves with unforced turnovers. And so those are the things that we've constantly focused on in practice.
Next question. Your roster is a great mix of Missouri residents plus athletes from around the country and around the world. What are your thoughts on building a roster that both closes the borders but also reaches out to great athletes from outside the state?
Yeah, so I think this state is really important to us. And I've said that from day one. I think recruiting in state isn't always as easy as it might seem. And by the way, hey, shout out to Coach Drink and the football team. Everybody give it up for them. I don't see those hands in the ones that I'm seeing. Come on now, put them up. But what a great get for them. So excited. But yeah, I think being able to keep kids home in state is really important. I think that helps draw your fan base. I think it's kids that, people are familiar with. There's a connection there. So I think that's really, really important. But at the end of the day, we've got to recruit kids that really fit us and who we are. And I think with the recruiting, the transfer portal right now, last year there was over 1,600 women's basketball players in the transfer portal. I mean, so you've always got to stay on top of your game, whether you think you have scholarships or you don't. You better know who's in the mix and who's out there, and always be ready so you don't have to get ready. But I think I like our mix. I think we're doing a good job of recruiting in state. Do some get away? Absolutely. Sometimes kids just want to get away. They want to have that. They have this notion that staying in state won't be the true college experience of getting away and having independence. And so, we've got to talk through that a little bit with some of them, but some of them get away. Sometimes based on positional needs, it's just as good as they are. We don't have a positional need for them that year. And so that kind of comes into play too. But in-state is by far, for sure, the most important thing to us.
I'm going to jump to another question because it follows up on something you said. When a kid like Luther Burden commits to Mizzou, it really gives a morale boost to the fans. Does that help your recruiting in the region when a kid like that's willing to come?
Well, I can't comment on who committed and who didn't, compliance rules, right? So I can't say, yep, no, you're good. But let's say a high caliber in-state kid did commit to Mizzou, 100%. 100%. If you remember correctly, every time I've been in Kansas City, I've really encouraged you guys to get out to our football games, right? To be a consistent fan through the storms, through the fires. We need you in those seats. That support for our football team impacts football's recruiting. Football's recruiting impacts every other program here at the University of Missouri. And so is it the end all? No, definitely not. But does it help? Tremendously.
I hope nobody on our call reports me to the NCAA for that. I apologize. You have a new athletic director. So far, how's it going with her? You're 12 years. You're in your fourth athletic director. So Desiree Reed Francois came in, and she has a lot of energy. What do you think so far?
Yeah, I've been really impressed. And so it's interesting. I think every athletic director I've had, which you're right, there's been 4 of them, everybody's leadership style is going to be a little bit different in organizational flow and expectations and communication styles. I've been so impressed with Desiree. We've had a few head coaches meetings and just the organization and the information and the collaboration in those meetings has been outstanding. I think she's got a vision, somebody that's going to work extremely hard. I've always prided myself on my work ethic, and I will not be outworked, but I tell you what, she's going to give me a run for my money. She just burns it at both ends. She's passionate. And I think she sees this place as a sleeping giant. I think she's got the support from our curators, obviously, and our president. And I think she is going to leave a legacy behind. I think she's really passionate about this and sees something special in the University of Missouri. And I'm excited. I've been blown away by her leadership and really excited.
We had her as a guest a few weeks ago, and your description of her passion and her energy are right on. She was great. So,
yeah, good.
Couple more questions, and then we'll let you go. What was the experience of attending the WNBA finals?
It was great. I was able to, our whole staff went up there. And so it was just, it meant a lot. I saw Sophie before the game, gave her a big hug, and then stuck around after. And, it's just, the timing of the year is hard because we got recruits coming in and we've got practice and whatnot, but this is something that we absolutely wanted to and needed to carve out time for, and just really fun. Great to see her on that stage for sure.
Question about your scout team. How do you go about choosing the guys who practice against you?
Yeah, so a couple different things. We're always looking. So if you guys know of anybody that's here at Mizzou, but you got to get the right kind of guys for that too. Guys that are going to check their ego, that understand it's not about them, but really challenging our players and playing within, what we need them to do. But we'll do anything from when they move in August and just being a presence on campus and handing out flyers to going over to the rec center, in the night hours and see who's playing pickup and visit with some guys there. We talked to some fraternities. We also piggyback off on our men's basketball open tryouts to see, get their roster. Who are they not taking, if they take anybody, and there's usually a list of guys to pick from there. So word of mouth, any way we can get names, and they've got to go through certain steps too, and it is a commitment. We can't give them much, and so they're really donating their time to us without much in return. But we've been really blessed over the years to get some really good scout guys, and they're a huge part of us, and really, I think, impact the success of our program.
I know you got to get to practice. I'm going to ask you one more question. Of all the NCAA rule changes that have happened, what are the most important to you?
Well, NIL for sure. I think that's just yeah, I think we've opened up a can of worms that's going to be really, really interesting to see how that all plays out. And I think the fact that every state's laws are a little bit different in regards to that. There's a lot of moving parts to that that I think are, there's some benefits there and there's some challenges there. And so just to sort through all that, I'm a basketball coach, not a lawyer, and there's limited, hands-on that we can have, but, I think that's going to impact the game. I really do. And then I think the challenging one that I have a hard time with is the transfer portal, immediate eligibility. I don't know if we're teaching life lessons when things get hard or you face adversity, that you just bolt. I'm just old school that way. I think you find a way to work through it. Now, I think there are situations where it warrants an immediate eligibility. But man, I just hope we're not setting our kids up for failure in life, because life is not easy. There's going to be adversity, in your home and in your job and relationships, and you got to find a way to work through it. And so there's pros and cons to that too, but I think those are the two that have probably impacted college athletics more than anything.
Robin, thanks. I know you have to get to practice and you got a game in 2 days, so you got some work to do to get ready. These new rules haven't made your job any easier either.
Yeah, but I'm so blessed to do what I do. I have an opportunity to impact young kids and, compete in a sport that I love. So a lot of blessings there. But hey, you guys, I just appreciate you so much. I hate that I can't see everyone's face right now, like laughing together and hanging out together for a really good lunch. But just please know that I appreciate you. If you need anything from me, just shoot me an email and I'll do whatever I can for you.
All right. Well, you've been a great supporter of our club all the years coming up, and we wish you the best of luck in this upcoming season.
Thank you so much. MIZ.
ZOU. Hey, that's Robin Pingeton, over 500 wins in her career, 12th season at Mizzou, getting ready to start their season. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in today. Again, make sure you encourage your friends to watch us on YouTube and to sign up for membership. We really need your support. For updates on events, go to our website, kctigerclub.com, and be sure to support our sponsors. Our guest next week will be Sam Mellinger, the columnist from the Kansas City Star. I'm sure we'll have some interesting conversation about the Kansas City Chiefs, among other things. Don't forget the club has football tickets and Bunker Club passes. You can send an email to president@KC Tiger Club. So, folks, we'll see you next week. Make sure you check our schedule of upcoming speakers. That will include John Sunbull, November 30th, and recruiting guru Danny Heidert on December 7th. Everybody have a great week. We'll see you next week with Sam Mellinger.